12 minutes left on the card to hustle over here. The ScanDisc card to hustle back towards City Hall. Because it's raining. It's the Hava Trail Bridge. It goes over Reading Terminal Market into the convention center. That's the convention center over there. The convention center has a bunch of buildings. Chinatown's one of my favorite places to walk through. I almost, like at one point, I really wanted to live in Chinatown. In fact, 1010 Ray Street is a place that I looked at ages ago when they first put it on the market, like early 2000s. And at that point, I had a career as a writer, both on staff and then as a freelance writer. And during those years, I could freelance and earn a good amount of money, like good enough. And I was like, if I can go at this rate and keep getting work as a freelancer, it seemed hopeful, then I could, you know, maybe actually like wind up in a condo. But things would take an incredible turn, so I wound up on a whole different trajectory. I don't know what to say. Which way are we going? Sort of have to check with my surroundings. Anyway, so it would not come to be that I would wind up in a condo or anything like that. I just keep paying rent. And for 2.5 years, I was living with my mom and aunt down in Florida, in Turkey Creek Forest, 55 and older community. They would pass away both during the pandemic, as did my dad, who was living with his second wife of many years, my stepmother. And then she passed away 2 years later. So it was all of a sudden a whole bunch of people were, you know, passing away, and I returned here. So I actually stayed in here in that building there, 1222 Arch, for a summer. I actually house sat and dog sat for a woman who went overseas. I don't know if she went to England or, but for Fox Business School, Temple University. And for a couple months she was over in England. Pretty sure it was England, not like France or anything. I got to stay there in her loft apartment or condo for about 2.5 months. And the timing couldn't be better because where I was living, they were converting that building to a condominium. I had lived in 2 places that got converted to condos, and I wasn't in a position to buy. At least I didn't believe I was. In retrospect, I think I would have been at the first place where that happened, but anyway, I wouldn't have personally, like, you know, I wouldn't have known what to do with a condo in that first building. So anyway, so I wound up staying there at 1222 Arch, and it's a nice place. There's no concierge, so some people prefer not having concierges, but there is an elevator, and it kind of has a funky, like a slight funky city feeling. It's hard to explain. Like, it has a city feeling to it. It's Trader Joe's over here, their second location and new location for many years. They have only been in one location, which is about 10 blocks west of here. I guess like 8, over on 21st, 22nd Street and Market. So they opened this one in just the past like 3, 4, or 5 years. For some reason, I don't know, it's over here by the courthouse and everything. And that's how. So here's a loft or whatever you want. This is a hotel with loft-like, I guess, rooms. James and Carla, I think it's James and Carla from New York, they stayed here when they came down to Philadelphia for a quick visit. They do walking and all kinds of stuff in New York City on their YouTube channel, James and Carla. So that's Comcast way up there. And we'll just turn here. And here we are at City Hall. The Christmas tree and everything. So we'll head on up. And I'm passing Arch Street. People for the steeple. That's Arch here. So we'll head on up to City Hall. This is where they had the tree lighting the other night. And that's Center City, Philadelphia, with all its lit buildings and so forth and so on. So, church office here, Chapel of Prayer, and the Masonic Temple of Philadelphia. Turns out our grandfather was a Shriner, like a 32nd or 33rd degree Mason apparently. I don't know how that works. My mom saved his Buwami hats and apron. This is from Delaware / DC. Like his paper is from Washington, DC. I don't know how that all worked out, but he actually wound up passing away just when he retired. He worked for the railroad. Back then it was not called Amtrak, but they would switch to Amtrak just after he retired, and 3 weeks after he retired, he passed away. So he never got to enjoy his retirement and all of that.
Yeah, I'm gonna use that picture.
Oh yeah, let's
Sure, mistletoe.
So here we are back at City Hall. And just the end of a Sunday night. The rain has stopped, thankfully. I'm afraid it's going to start back up again, so I kept my umbrella up just in case. Because earlier it started raining so hard all of a sudden. So I was glad I already had my umbrella up and wasn't caught off guard there. So just 3 minutes left.